know that, you ran policy consultancy and that you spent an incredible time on the Hill in your own right as well. I keep looking at all of these corporations, Maya, that are saying that they're going to spend all of this money on to fight for racial justice, and that they're going to invest all of this money in African American communities. Can you talk about what we should be requiring from them or asking of them from a policy standpoint? Because we know that they spend an incredible amount of money lobbying Congress, right? They have a ton of money out there. What should we
they co-opted Congress. I used to work on the House Ways and Means Committee, which is the body that actually passes all tax legislation. There are entire tax bills that have been written by corporations that have passed wholesale into law. That is how powerful these corporations are. And most of the things that they're pushing for are actually against the interests of Black and brown communities and low-income communities of any color. And so, policy-wise, we need to ask them to quit pursuing a neoliberal paradigm where they seek to have all benefits going to them and their bottom line, to where they're not paying a dime in taxes. And we're subsidizing. When I say we, Black, brown, low income, middle class, we're subsidizing their profit margin. And so they actually, in addition to doing a diversity and equity audit on their institutions, in addition to doing all the things that they did in the late 70s to make sure that they were diversifying their workforce and spending, with Black businesses and brown businesses and investing in communities and Black newspapers, we need to ask them to quit stepping on our neck when it comes to public policy, because they're leaning just as hard on our necks as Chauvin did to George Floyd when it comes to public policy. All we have to do is look at this CARES Act that passed just a couple of months ago. They passed that whole PPP program, and you saw multi-million-dollar corporations. It was supposed to be designed for small businesses. The statistics I've seen show that, fewer than 10% of African-Americans, Latino-owned businesses actually got a dime of those PPP monies. While, certainly these multi-million-dollar companies were getting more. And, of course, as you really know, the big companies actually have their own multi-billion-dollar set-aside. And so that's just simply unconscionable. We have structured our policies, we have structured our entire economic system in a way that leaves us all saying that I can't breathe. We cannot breathe because of the policy paradigm that we have. And it's time to flip that script.
We have all these D&I reports that are coming out with corporations. What should that question about policy be for corporations and who they're supporting and who they're pushing forward? Because that seems like it's behind the curtain and nobody talks about it. Like, give us your D&I numbers. How about give us your dollar figures on the candidates, not only candidates, but like the congressional leaders that you're supporting, and what do the things that they're supporting in Congress do to people who look like me?
Yeah, so a couple of years ago, the Business Roundtable actually called for Social Security to be cut. Now, mind you, most of them are paying, such low wages to people that, and they're not paying for their retirement benefits. So why are you asking for Social Security to be cut? Because, if Social Security is cut and you're not giving them retirement benefits, how do you think people are going to survive as they age? And so that's just one example. We look at Walmart, and places like Walmart. Many of their employees are actually drawing down on food, food stamps, otherwise known as, what do they call it now, SNAP. They're using public benefits, which means that we as taxpayers are subsidizing their profits. And so if they care about, us, then they would either be raising their minimum wage to a living wage, and pushing for that policy instead of standing in its way on Capitol Hill and other places or state houses around the country. They would be backing up for some of these other asinine policies that they have been pushing that absolutely press on our necks and undermine the opportunities of our children and our families.
866-801-8255. As Drew was talking, I was thinking maybe you can come back and we can start to name names and start to talk about some of these companies that aren't doing the things that they need to do, or who are lobbying for things that are working against us, or those that are doing good things that are working on our behalf. Let's start making this, give our audience something that they can get behind as well. Would you do that?
Absolutely.